welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Minus watching tech on coding channel MyCodeWorks. So guys, this video is very important for you if you are very excited how to transition from a manual QA background, a person who wants to learn how to do API testing in automation. Then this playlist also going to be very important, as we are going to cover the REST assured a tool or library, Java library which is developed to do API testing and automation. So let's get started and we'll see what are the things going to see in this video, right? So without any delay, we'll jump into the main topic. So if I say that today our topic is basically rest assured, I'm covering rest assured here in this video. So I'm starting with the introduction of rest assured, and this video is totally for the person coming from QA background, automation tester, or planning for SDET or as a SDET also. So these are the persons or I can say stakeholders which is going to this video is going to work for them. So let's directly jump into the next slide, and I will simply explain what is rest assured, and before that I will tell something about the things, right? So in this video we are going to cover these many things, as why we need API testing first thing, and what is rest assured second, or third thing is like why we need to go with the rest assured, and then the issue with the rest assured. So before going to the next slide, I will talk about the API testing, why we need API testing actually. So let directly go to the API testing slide, and I will talk about this one. So API testing, why API testing is required. So first thing is API is a application programming interface in between client and server, and API is there which is dealing with client and server. So API is the something which brings the data and which sends the data, right, from the server to the server, right? So basically this will catch most of the bug if your code have written and it is deployed on server or client side also. This API will cover or catch more of the bugs early in the software development before going to the UI development. So like if the functionality, the main functionality is written and you have to check whether the functionality is working or not, so we go for API testing. So before going to the main UI development, we can test it early and we can find the bugs what are there inside this API endpoint provided by the developer, and based on that we can fix the possible bugs or errors in the particular API, so which will reduce our cost of development. And once our API is fully tested and everything is ready to implement in UI, then only we give to UI part and UI developer will implement. So API plays a very crucial role in our software development because this is the only interface which deals with the data, which takes the request from the client and sends the same request to the server, and server basically check the request and authorize the things, right? And based on that it will return the response. So what response the server have for the particular request. So in simple what I can say that it's a waiter, basically WAIT. Here I can say that API is a waiter. If you go in any hotel, you will be like your customer and there will be a hotel, right? So here waiter will be there in between you and the hotel main. So you will ask waiter to bring something, and waiter directly go and ask this is the order. So chef will be prepare the things and he will directly deliver to waiter, and waiter will directly deliver to you because you have ordered these things, you will get this response. So like this API works. So if you able to test this API early in the software development, we'll get some most of the bug basically. So these are the things if you see about, let's say in software development cycle will prevent major bugs at early in the stage. We can perform manually as well as automation. So API testing can be done manually as well as through automation also. So let me move to the next slide and I will talk about what is rest assured. So as we are talking about the API testing, we'll talk about rest assured here. So if I say rest assured, it's an open source Java library, and this is used to test and validate the REST API. Basically, if you see here, they are mentioning only REST API, not a XML, or I can say that SOAP API, XML or SOAP API. So using this tool, we can only automate or test the REST API endpoints, not with the SOAP UI or say SOAP API test case, right? So it's a Java open source Java library basically. If you think about this one, so this is Java library which is used to test and validate the REST API. So basically, dynamic language like Ruby and Ruby are helpful, simple to perform API testing, which were harder in Java. If you go with the testing with Java, then it was very tough. So Ruby and Ruby are very helpful in performing the API testing, and that's why rest assured is responsible to bring the simplicity to API testing using Ruby and Ruby in Java. So basically these two languages are very helpful to develop this open source library, which is very important for Java if you want to perform for API testing. So this is rest assured, and I can say that it's an open library, Java open source Java library, which is used to test the rest assured REST APIs. Okay, so I will clear this one. I will move directly to next slide. And if I say about the next slide, then so rest assured is Java DSL. If I say domain specific language, DSL means domain specific language. So simplifying the testing of the REST based services. They are not talking about the SOAP based. They are talking about the REST based services on the top of HTTP builder. Basically, they are implementing HTTP builder. If you say HTTP means we have get post, put, and patch, delete. These are the HTTP methods. So they are building the things right on the HTTP builder, right? So REST assured supports any HTTP method. Basically, these are the methods that REST assured supports. If I say, and like get, put, delete, and options patch, right? As well as head. So including specifying and validating the things. You can validate the things, right? You can validate the parameter. You can validate the headers, as well as you can validate the cookies inside and the body easily. So using REST assured, you can validate a lot of things of API endpoints. So it is used to validate and verify the response of these requests. This is the REST assured, right? I will clear these things. I will move to next slide, and so that we can talk about what are the merits of REST assured, and then we can understand. So first thing is that it's a open source, and nothing, we are not going to pay anything for this one. It's open source, anyone can use. It's a totally requires less coding. As you can see, if you want to implement anything on Apache HTTP client, you have to write more code. In REST assured, you can simply write it, and this initial setup is straightforward. Before they hit any point, we need to go with the simple keywords, and we can simply we can hit the particular endpoint. We don't need to write more and more code to hit the particular endpoint. So easy parsing and validation of response in JSON XML. So parsing is very easy in this one, as well as JSON as well as XML format data also. So extraction of asserting the value from response using ham crushed matchers, right? It's very easy to validate the data, and we can extract the data from the body. So it follows BDD like given and when and then. So given, you will be given something, and when means when to implement those things, like which method you want to implement or which endpoint you want to call. Once you get the data what want to perform, then you perform something, right? So it's very easy and available, like readable codes are there, and as well support is there, right? Rich in syntax, very rich in ready-made assertions. We have a lot of assertions, and quick assertion for status code as well as response time. Headers and content time can be verified easily. So powerful of logging mechanism. If you log directly, log dot all, if you do like this, you will get everything whatever coming inside the API endpoints, right? You can log it easily. So powerful logging mechanism. I will clear this, and I will move to next slide. So basically, we can integrate with the test-ng. We can integrate with the test-ng testing framework, right? JUnit also is a test and framework, and extend report, allow report. So these are the reporting things we can also integrate, and very good for supporting different authentication mechanisms like basic authentication, JOT authentication. A lot of authentications are SML, and a lot of authentications are there. Very good support for that authentication. Can we integrate with Selenium Java to achieve end-to-end automation like API plus UI and automation, and JSON path, hex path, which will we can easily get the data from the response using JSON path, XML path. We can get the data directly using this JSON XML path from the body, and we can easily integrate with the things, and we can verify the JSON schema using JSON schema validation library, include XML validation also, and CI/CD we can implement directly with Maven. Multi-part of form media, if there is a form with the image or data something, we can also implement that thing, and supports mock MVC, the Spring Web Test Client, and Scala Kotlin. These are the things are merits of REST assured. So these are very important, and we should know these things. So I will talk about the demerits of REST assured, and then we'll end up this session. So basically, the issue with the REST assured, I already talked that mostly REST assured talk about REST APIs or services, not SOAP services. SOAP services are not there. So that's why SOAP API explicitly we have to does not support the testing of SOAP API, and require good programming knowledge of Java. So Java is must. Basic also fine, but you should be very good with the logic building. Good with logic building at least, and the syntax. Like OOP is important here. So OOP is important here in Java. No inbuilt reporting mechanism. No inbuilt reporting. We have to go with this Serenity BDD is a good option here. So we can go with this Serenity BDD for logging or reporting. I can say reporting. So these are the merits of rest assured. So in this video we'll talk about a lot of things, and I hope you understand why rest assured is important and why we need to go with the rest assured. Thanks for watching this video. If you find anything which is not able to understand, please let me know in comment section. I will try to help you out, and we'll continue with the rest assured tutorial where we are going to implement the methods, whatever HTTP methods we saw, actual implementation, and then at last we'll see how to build a rest assured framework, API automation framework. So that's all for today video. Thanks for watching this video. We'll meet in next video. Bye bye.